Did you ever have to drop a deuce while on the mound? I'll answer that one. A couple weeks ago, I asked Twitter, YouTube, and I think I did an Instagram story, which I'm now realizing I didn't check for this video. I asked you guys to ask me any question about my career or just about the game in general, because I feel like I now can talk a little bit more candidly about some of the stuff that maybe you want to know about. Not all of it, but some of it. I knew you were going to respond. I knew there was going to be some responses. I did not know that there was going to be 500 plus. It asked me 500 of you asked questions, which is thank you. But Jesus, there's some more in there too. There might be a part 2. Let me know down in the comments. Before I start that though, I just want to thank everyone for being here. Going into this year, I've been thinking a lot about intention setting and goals, because now I don't have a season to get in the way of my content creation, because the season kept getting in the way of my content creation. So I'm going to be here. I'm going to be on the channel. I'm going to be making tons and tons of videos. I got all these ideas, but I also want to hear your ideas. So if you want to keep up on those, make sure that you subscribe. And if you're still listening to this part of the video, make sure you write sugar cookie, singular, in the comments below, so that I know that you know, that I know that you know, that I know that you know that you like the video. Anyway, let's get into the questions. The first question is from True Dom on Twitter. What was it like getting the call that you were going to be promoted to the MLB? It was amazing. It is a day that you look forward to from the moment you were drafted, sometimes even before, because you know you're going to get drafted because you're like that. So it was many years in the making. It took me over 5 years to get called up to the major leagues, which is just unheard of these days, but I digress. And it was a day in Indianapolis. I'll never forget that trip, because right before we left to go on the plane, which in AAA you fly commercial, and your flight is almost like at 5:50 to like 6:30 always in the morning. You got to get up at 3:30, go to the airport, and then you have to play that night. So I remember going to the airport, getting there, and then having the zipper on my suitcase break, and we had to saran wrap it closed in order to get on the plane. We are in Indianapolis. The game ends. The manager walks in. He walks through, says, "Hey, great win tonight. Let's go get another one tomorrow." Goes into his office, and then he pokes his head back out and says, "Oh, by the way, Trevor May's going to the big leagues." And it was, I've never smiled bigger. It was an amazing feeling of accomplishment, the realization of the dream. Next from Dacian from YouTube. What is the feeling you get when you know you're pitching well or in a groove? There's an absence of fear. Sometimes being afraid is easier than other times. A lot of it has to do with your mental state. A lot of it has to do with what's gone on recently, what's about to go on. Like, are you apprehensive for something else? So like fear can build out of nowhere for a lot of different things. For me, it was always like I threw that first fastball, and if they were late, that would be the biggest confidence block building on the tower and building my head, if that makes sense. Then you start to think about how great being successful is going to feel. There's no effort for your brain to be where it needs to be. That's what the zone is. It's the greatest feeling of like, I am going to do this, and then you do it immediately and it happens exactly the way you saw it. There is nothing better than that in the world. Would you ever work in the front office of an organization? A lot of former players are doing that now. That is from Oshi Zai Baseball. I'm so sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. I think I would work low. I would be interested in doing like an analytics job. I would like to not have to go be on the road. I would like to just help a little bit from afar. And as far as like GMing, no shot, because you got a boss. Sometimes that boss isn't the most knowledgeable about what you're trying to do and doesn't really care and has all the money. I just don't want to be beholden to someone like that. I don't want to have to listen to somebody, because I just don't have a lot of respect for it, frankly. At this moment, I'm a little cold on it, but I do love the game, and I do love the idea of the problem of trying to win a World Series and trying to solve that problem in clever ways. That's really exciting and interesting to me. So who knows? I won't close the door on it, but as of right now, yeah, just no. From Dave Luna, I don't know why, but I immediately thought, oh, hey, does someone really watch you pee when you're drug testing? But no, that's not my question. I'd like to know why you signed with the A's last season. It threw me off because I thought you were capable of contributing to a contending team, and the A's were just not that. I wanted to be close to home. That was number one. Seattle wasn't interested. That's where I live. And so the closest I could get would be either San Francisco or Oakland. The offer was really good, and I felt good about that as well. And then it was an exciting young group of guys, and I had the opportunity to be like the old veteran guy, and I never got to do that. So that was also really interesting to me, and I thought it would be enjoyable to do. in what I was anticipating to be my last year. From Miles Fan, how do MLB player salaries get paid? I've heard it's bi-weekly during the season only. Also, what's it like signing with a new team and trying to get situated in a new city? So player salaries are paid bi-weekly. We are W-2. We are salaried employees. And I always knew when payday was because I needed to make sure as I walked into the stadium that I told everyone happy payday. So that was always one way that I brought some joy. As for your second part of that question, moving to a new city is interesting. It's hard in a lot of ways, but you get a lot of practice with it in the minors. You're moving cities all over the place. You had to do it in spring training. So I've lived in so many different places, and more often you do it, the easier it is. Big shout out to my wife, Kate, being amazing and doing so much of that, like moving us in when we're on the road to start the season and things, moving the cats around the country, having a wonderful partner to support you and help you and your family does so much for you. I don't think they get enough love for that. So shout out to all the families out there basically making baseball players exist, because without you, we are screwed. From Will, biggest display of eyewash you witnessed. For those of you that don't know what eyewash is, think about things that are unwanted getting in your eyes, what you do. So, biggest display of eyewash. I won't name a specific situation because I've seen a lot, but the biggest one is relievers in the major leagues that run. Why? Why are you running? Why are you running? You throw an inning. You throw one inning. You're getting 3 guys out. Save your energy. You can't run it to the plate. Life isn't about checking boxes. It's about having a reason to do things. And when it's purposeless, that's what eyewash is. And I hate it. I hate it. From Ethan, what was your favorite thing you got to do in your career? I got to tour the White House, and the tour was led by the chief of staff at the time. So in 2015, I think it was 2016. I don't remember, but we got to tour it. At that time, the chief of staff for President Obama was from Minnesota, and he was a Twins fan, and they knew him from some other things. So I got to walk around, stand at the podium in the press room, like see the Oval Office, just see things. No one was there, but it was cool. It was really cool, and I think that's something I wouldn't have been able to do had I not been a professional baseball player at the time. Are New York fans too hard on their players? And Brody asks, additionally, and what do you think of the fans booing their own players, just in general? Let me say this first. I believe that if a fan wants to boo, you should be able to do all of that. Anything you want, social media, in the stands, anywhere. That is your right. And as a fan, that is the point. You're being entertained in one way or the other. Say what you think. However, if you think that booing or belittling or telling someone how mad it's going to make you if they fail is going to help them play better, you're lying. That's not real. That's not how it works. It's not helping. It can only hurt. So it's either going to be neutral because you're being ignored, or it's going to bother somebody and make it harder to do that thing that you say you want. That doesn't mean you have to be like, oh, it's okay. Just if they're giving you everything they got, then gassing them up is your best chance to get more. Remember the Trey Turner? Just go look at the Trey Turner thing. Exhibit A. Which one do you think you're better at? Fortnite or baseball? Dude, I was a world-class athlete, and then I just, sometimes got like 10 eliminations on Fortnite. I think that those might even be close. It's flattering to me. But yeah, it's probably baseball. It's baseball. What was your biggest challenge and how did you overcome it? ADD. My biggest challenge was learning about how my brain works, not letting things snowball on me when things were going poorly. I really struggled with getting out of that mind space. I growing up, I have some relationships with showing emotions and things that I've been working through for a long time. The biggest challenge I had was, how do I show emotion without like showing people up and making a scene? And that's very frowned upon in sports in general, but very much so in baseball. I was just fighting a battle in my own head, expending a lot more energy than some other guys would have been doing with the same situations. Was there a player you enjoyed facing the most, and vice versa, somebody you never wanted to face? AL or NL? A guy that I always was excited, and especially towards the end of his career, was Mike Napoli. I had a lot of success against Mike. He's an amazing hitter, had an incredible career. I mean, the guy's on a Hall of Fame ballot. He was an amazing player. However, I did have a lot of success. I think 0 for 8 with 7 strikeouts.
He has struck out 6 times. Make it 7.
And then on the other side, like Donaldson just gave me fits early in my career. You know, every time V-Mark came up, I was like, oh God. But as I got older, I started to not have that strong of a feeling anymore about it. I saw them as peers, and then it became my job to get them out. I couldn't afford to start on my heels with giving them a little bit of an advantage. But yeah, you know, there's guys you're like, meh, I don't want to face. I would say in today's game, here's a quick list. Soto, Freeman, Acuna, Trout, Ohtani, like the guys that you don't want to beat you. You'd rather not face the guy that you have to kind of pitch around. What was your favorite stadium to pitch in from Chief Wahoo? One of my favorite stadiums to pitch in of all time is Target Field. Target Field's beautiful. It's generally a pitcher's park. I also really enjoy coming to T-Mobile. I think Seattle does a great job with their atmosphere. It's a cool park. Again, it's built in 2000. Feels like it was built yesterday. It's an awesome time. And also my family could be there. So I get to see everybody. I get to sleep in my own bed. And there's something to be said for that. Also in that list, Fenway. Love going to Fenway because it's Fenway. And when you're a kid, you're like, Fenway. And then you go play in Fenway, you're like, Fenway. And then success-wise, I was always very successful in Chicago against the White Sox. I felt comfortable there for whatever reason. And I really love Citi Field. I believe that Citi is actually statistically my best stadium. So go look that up. From Ask Joshy, games you were most nervous about. Most nervous about. There was a few. My first playoff game in 2019 was a little bit nerve-wracking. It was in Yankee Stadium in the division series. It's Yankee Stadium. It's a playoff series. So loud. I've said this before and I'll say it again. As relievers going into the playoffs, you just don't want it to be your fault. You just don't want everyone to remember that it was you that did it. You know, we all know Bill Buckner. That's all I'm saying. That guy was really good, but we don't remember his career, do we? Another one that sticks out in my head, the last time I think I felt truly overwhelmed was September 11th, 2021. It was the 20-year anniversary of 9/11. We were playing against the Yankees in our place. They have the big moment with Piazza at the first home run back. Like there's a lot of history there. And I just had a feeling, and it's, for whatever reason, I was very nervous, like just about the game, like not that even just that day, the whole series. I was like, oh, I know this is gonna happen. Like, I was the 8th inning guy. I'm like, it's gonna be me. So I'm gonna have to pitch. And then, sure enough, 8th inning comes around. We're up 7-5. I throw a second pitch fastball to Brett Gardner, single. Throw a slider to Judge next up, ball. Throw him a changeup up and in, homer, tie game. So I've thrown 4 pitches. The game's tied. I get 3-2 on Giancarlo Stanton. He hits a double down the line. I'm pulled. And I was truly remember like being like, I feel like I am underwater. I learned a lot from it, and it didn't become that for me ever again, which is good. What were some of your favorite entrance songs from the bullpen? Did you get to choose the songs as a non-closer? You do get to choose the songs as a non-closer in most places. Though, at the beginning of my career, the Twins only played the closer song, and I had to fight tooth and nail. And whoever is in charge of this, you know what you did. So now all of those guys got songs over there. We just played them at the end of the year, and I was like, what is this? You all got songs? I had to fight for years for this. You're welcome. I walk so you could run. I'm huge on songs and entrance songs. It's like my favorite thing. I liked WWF when I was a kid, and the entrances were the big thing. So I've always loved reliever entrances. I came out to Welcome Home by Coheed and Cambria for a long time. I have a signed photo of them over here, which is amazing. I mean, it's pretty cool. The drummer is a huge Mets fan, so walking out the song in City and then them signing this and leaving this in my locker, this is one of the coolest things that I own. However, in Oakland, I had to forego that song because the way the Oakland speakers are, it's like being at a concert venue. So you kind of have to go with something with bass. So I had to go with Rumble by Skrillex and Frodon. And woof, I'm glad I did. That thing was... it was sick. Some other ones I've heard, Thunderstruck, Johan Duran's now is pretty great. And then obviously, like, we got to go trumpets, right? That's how it should be. We should have more fun with this type of stuff. Who is the best teammate you ever had in your career? This is from Benny. Best teammate I've ever had. I'll give you a short list of some of the best people that I've played with. Pete Alonso's up there. Matt Belisle, Blaine Boyer, Tyler Duffy, Taylor Rogers. Those are my boys. Those are my good friends. Not to take anything away from anyone else, but these were just the guys we could joke around with a lot. Aaron Loop, hilarious. Adam Ottavino's up there now. Torrey Hunter I had him for 1 year. Torrey was one of the best leaders that I've ever met, and I learned a lot from Torrey as well. From Blake and Carlos, what team do you wish you had a chance to play for most? The Mariners. I wanted to play in Seattle. Everyone wants to play for their home team at some point. But not everyone can be Joe Mauer and just like be Mr. Twin their whole life and grow up there and then become the face of the franchise and then have twins. What? From Frodon, moment where you told yourself, I gotta tell my grandkids about this one day. Basically the entire 2022 season with the Mets. But I think the moment that I was involved in is getting the 20th strikeout in a 20 strikeout game, because it was only like the 12th or 13th time this happened ever, even combined. And I got to pitch in it and get one of them. And I have the ball. And so I get to talk about that with them. And that's going to be super cool because I got to be part of kind of a historical moment. So I technically have a signature on a ball from that game that's in the Hall of Fame. So that's a moment that I'll probably be sharing with my kids. Did you ever have to drop a deuce while on the mound? Duh. Of course. I've had to pee so bad that I'm like, I am going to wet myself. I've gotten to the point where I waddled off. You go as fast as you can. These things happen. Adrenaline is a crazy, crazy, crazy chemical. I will say I always made it. No, I'm not lying. And our last question. What is your favorite memory of baseball? And was it a challenge to find moments to become your new favorite memory? I have a lot of really great memories in baseball. One is winning my state semifinal game. I've battled emotions my whole life. When I was younger, in my teens, I really struggled with showing emotion, and that really hurt my ability to be the best version of myself as a player. When I was dialed in, nobody could touch me. But it was basically a coin flip whether or not I would melt down and just come apart, leave the mound in tears, frankly. So that year, my senior year in high school, and things had flipped for me for the last year. I had no trouble at all with any of that stuff. And something happened where I was just supremely confident. So that was my first, you can do this moment of that. But I'd say as a professional, was a game, and it was September of 2014 against the White Sox. It was a day game, and I was pitching well to start the game. I started to implode a little bit. I hadn't actually turned it around at any start up to that. I think this was my ninth start or something. So I kept falling apart in the fourth or fifth. I was just hurting our bullpen. Every time I pitched, they were like, ugh, Trevor again. So I'll never forget, I got in some trouble, and then Trevor Plouffe said, hey man, this could go the same way it always goes, or, you could make it not. And I struck the side out in 10 pitches after that with guys second and third. And so that was a switch flipping too. And so that's it. Those are the frequently asked questions. Hit me in the comments below. Sugar Cookie, you remember, you know what to do. Subscribe to the channel. We are going to be here regularly every single week. Also, join the Discord. Discord link is in the description below as well. Have a wonderful day. I will see you next time on the Trevor May Baseball channel. You're all very attractive and very nice. And your hair looks amazing today. Bye.